Hello, and welcome to today's Saratech Enablement Series. My name is Sarah Utsugi, and I'm the Marketing Coordinator at Saratech, and I'll be your host today. Presenting today, we have Bud Evans, who is a Senior Manufacturing Engineer at Saratech, and he'll be talking to you about what's new in NX 1953 manufacturing. All right, hi Bud, thanks for joining us today. How are you doing?
Good, Sarah, thank you.
Great, well, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Saratech?
Yes, I'm Bud Evans. I'm the Senior Manufacturing Engineer, and I've been using NX for a little over 20 years. So I've been through a lot of revisions and what's news. And today I'm going to show, there's a lot new in NX 1953. So we're breaking it into two parts, and we're going to do the first half with this session, and then in the near future we'll have a part two.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you're the expert, Bud. We're excited to hear what you have to share with us today. So why don't you go ahead and share your agenda and take it away.
Okay. Thank you, Sarah. So today we're going to cover the topics here on the agenda. The first one will be with auto blanks. If you're using a bounding block or a cylinder for an auto blank, you can now grab PMI from that auto blank. And the machine coordinate system can now be positioned on an auto blank, which is new. And the tools, now you can now put a relief diameter in, which before you had to kind of make up your own method of making up relief diameter tools that have been relieved. You can now compare the parameters of two operations to quickly see what's different. And you can simultaneously edit multiple operations. They've added a new planar deburring operation. And inside Planar Mill, now we have adaptive mill with cut pattern, which is a really popular pattern. And now you can download a new configurator library straight from PostHub. And I'll show you how to do that. And they've made a new user-defined event for preferred rotary solution. So for 5-axis machines, when it's flipping the wrong way, you can force it to flip the way you want it, the table. And we've also added tooltip enhancement for the machining feature navigator and enhanced the create feature process. This is a general reminder, anytime there is a revision, your tool paths can change. But we recommend you check them, and they're hopefully better than they were before, but you always want to check if you've got several programs that you've been running forever and you don't want them to change. You may want to lock the tool paths during version upgrade. It's a checkbox inside the customer defaults. So now when you're creating an auto blank, bounding block or bounding cylinder, you can have it display PMI and see the PMI that's going to be available. So I'll open a simple part. So if we create an auto blank around this part, I'll just give it a little bit extra stock on the top, and then say display PMI. Here's the new checkbox. You can see that PMI is now available. So if you're using feature-based manufacturing or something different down the road, after this, then you can grab that PMI and use it for whatever you want to use it for. And to turn it off, you just uncheck display PMI. It's still there and available, but you don't necessarily need to look at it. And also, since they've added that, this is new too. It actually creates over in your part navigator a solid body. So in order to turn it off, you need to go over here and uncheck that. And now, also new, the machine coordinate system can be positioned on the part or blank. And this is pretty handy, and not just for the auto blank, but for the part, like it was before, but we didn't have this new feature. So now I've got my auto blank. If I want to locate that MCS up here, instead of specify, I'll say on blank, and I get my nice little box down here. I can put it right on the top, middle of the blank, or lower left-hand corner. Or it can also go on the part. It'll make a box around that part. So for quick setups, that's a really nice feature. Cutting tool relief. Now you can add a relief. If you send a tool back to the tool room and say, I need a 1/4 inch of flute and I need to this tool relieve back, you can now model it or make it exactly how it is inside NX. So I'll just create an end mill. So there's a 1 inch end mill, and say I want a 1/4 inch flute, and then I want it relieved 25 thousandths on each side for 1 inch. Then I can actually make it like it really is. Whereas before you just use the regular end mill and turn off your gouge checking and inside because it's going to be rubbing. Well, now you don't have to turn off your gouge checking. You can let things go as the safe route, the way they should be. Now you can compare two operations to see what's different, and they can be in the same work part or in a different part file. So if I take this adaptive milling, oops, and it's kind of hidden. It's menu, tools, compare objects, and that naturally, if you're going to use this very often, you'll put it up on your toolbar. But compare out that's technically where it's located. And I want to compare adaptive milling, and I'm going to go to a browse way there at the bottom. Almost couldn't find it. And I made a part similar. Just this would be like if you ran this a part very similar a month ago and ran fine, and now you have a part that's you're having problems with, and you think, what's different? So I'm going to pull up that part that I made a month ago that I knew had a similar operation, and I'm going to compare the objects, and it will actually open up. It's going to open that file and then show me what's different in those two operations that I picked. So I can see here my step over was different, and minimum curvature radius is different. So I think that's a real handy feature, because when you open them up side by side and try to do that by yourself, sometimes you can't figure out what's different. And now multiple operations can be edited simultaneously, and this is obviously a benefit. So if I take, and naturally they have to be the same types of operations, and that kind of makes sense. So if I take all these area millings and say I want to change the feed rate, so right now they're all 38.2, and I would like them to be 40, so I'll mass edit, feeds and speeds, 40 inch a minute. So now they've all been updated to 40 that quickly. They've added a new planar deburring operation, which you can run an end mill along, pretty much along the top planar lines of an object, even if they're not modeled. So this part doesn't have any modeled chamfers. So a quick example would be, we'll just use the ball end mill. It's under mill planer and planar deburring. We use a ball end mill workpiece. And I'll just let it get the top face. So it runs along any sharp edge that it finds. Adaptive mill cut pattern is now available in Planar Mill. And this actually replaces trochoidal. So I've got a planar mill operation in here. And when you, right under your main tab, if you go to cut pattern, you'll notice trochoidal is gone and adaptive milling is now present. And like I said, that's a very, very popular pattern. So I think that's a big move in the right direction. And now you can download your postprocessor library straight from PostHub. What this really is the template that Post Configurator uses to run the posts, run the post from Post Configurator. And I'll show you where and how, and why. So if you go to Post Process, that didn't look like a good sign, and browse online for a Post Processor, that'll bring up PostHub. And PostHub's been around for a while a place where you can download posts. But what they've added is if you click the help, they've added this new section here, download Post Configurator library. And I don't want to install. So what that did is it downloaded this zip file, and I'll go ahead and open it just to show you where it would go. So if you go to this is an out-of-the-box install. So yours may be in a custom location, but it would be the same. You'll get the idea. But out of the box, it's going to be this right here. This post template. You'll see that's the same contents. So you replace these files with your new files. And what that does is it enables you to update your posts without updating in NX. So if you want to stay on 1953 for a while, for a few revisions, but you'd like to keep your posts updated, or you see some new features on the post configurator, you can stay up to date on the post configurator aspect of it without updating your NX. Preferred rotary solution. People with a 5-axis, normally it's a 5-axis, well, it's always a 5-axis table. It's happens all the time where it tilts the wrong way and you can't see anything happening. And you think, well, how do I change it? Well, we've always used the rotate command before. At the beginning of the operation, you'd rotate and force one of the axes to the axis that you want. But now, let me turn the machine on here. So here's a table. It's actually SIM 08. It's just an out-of-the-box SIM kit that comes with NX. And if I take that area milling and simulate machine, and I want to use machine code simulation, So there's my G code. See, it's actually, this is actually pointing the way I think most people would want it. But just say you want it to go the other way, the other alternate, then you'd use our new user-defined event. So object start events, and they put it right on top. So preferred solution, and we want it active. We want to, that's my C axis there. So I want to force that C axis. And what I'm actually doing is I'm changing the kinematics of the post. I'm saying that C axis can only go from 0 to 10 degrees. So I know if that's as far as it can go, it has to force that A table to go the other direction. So now if I simulate the machine, machine code, there's my G code. So now it flips it the other way. Same machining operation done, but we picked the alternate solution. And they've also added enhanced tooltip. A lot of information is available now if you're using feature-based manufacturing, either full-blown or feature-based, just to select your holes or your geometry. So now inside your machining feature navigator, if you hover, you see all that information. And all that information can be used in your feature-based manufacturing to change your operations. And now you can, you used to have to find all your features, and then you created a feature process for everything. Well, now you can find your features and then select just the features that you want to create a feature process for. So in here, yeah, we can create a feature process just for that group. But of course, the items this one has no. This would go nowhere because there's no. It didn't find anything. It's an empty area, empty process, empty feature. So what we covered is now the PMIs available on bounding block and cylinder blanks, and these are all the items we touched. The relief diameter is very. I think that everybody's going to like that one. Simultaneous multiple operations, that's definitely a win. Adaptive mill cut pattern, everybody likes that. But that's pretty much everything we've covered. So are there any questions?
Thanks, Bud. It looks like we have more of a comment. Al mentions, you may want to mention turning on the feature toggle for mass editing. It could be that you don't have to enable it for NX 1953. He needs to turn it on in 1899.
No, you don't have. It's not toggled in 53.
Great.
It was actually toggled in 1899 because it was a experimental. The stuff that's toggled, that stuff that they believe is going to be permanent is if it works out and it's liked. So it's now permanent. It doesn't have to have a toggle.
Perfect.
And what he's talking about with toggles, in case people don't know, I didn't know this really until recently. Utilities. These are toggles. Where is it? Yeah, it's right here. They changed the name of them on me. But these are feature toggles. And in 1899, you had to actually come toggle this on. So you don't have to in 1953. It comes turned on. Early access.
Alice's thanks. So it looks like we do have a few other questions. The first is, if you attach the MCS to the auto blank, is it associative?
No. No, if you when you do that, MCS to the auto blank, no, if the blank changes, that's going to stay right there. So it's very easy to go in there and rechange it, but you'll have to go repick it. It's not associative with if this part were to change size. That's a good question.
All right, the next question we have is, will preferred rotary solution work on all postprocessors?
That's a no also. It works on this postprocessor, but because that's for this machine, and they just made that preferred rotary for the new machines, but it can be incorporated into any post. So if you have an old post builder post, or you can modify that post and use the same logic that they're using for this. Like I said, it rewrites the kinematics of the machine just for that operation. So it could definitely be incorporated into all posts, but it would require modification.
Okay. It looks like we have one final question. Is the tool relief diameter available on all tools?
No. I only saw it on the mill and on the ball mill. But I think that's probably the only tool that you need them on. But on the end mill and the ball mill, they've added these areas literally didn't exist before, these two variables. But if you open up your other tools, a thread mill, for example, you're not going to see those relief diameters. So from what I've found, it's only the ball mill and the end mill. But I really think that's probably sufficient.
Great. It looks like that's all the questions that we have for today. But as a reminder, if you have any questions or comments that you remember after the presentation, feel free to email us at info@saratech.com, and we'd be happy to answer those questions for you. So for the next session, as Bud mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, because there are so many new features, we are going to be doing a part 2 to the session. So make sure you sign up for that. As a registered CES member, you don't have to register again. We will send you an email letting you know when we have a date for this session, and you can just make sure that you log on at that time. If you have any colleagues who may be interested, I also suggest having them sign up as well, and we'll be able to send them out a reminder when we have a date for this session. So if you're ready to take it to the next level, Saratech offers much more than software. We have a wide variety of options for training, services, and 3D printers. So if you have any questions about that, you can email us at marketing@saratech.com. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter for upcoming webinar dates and topics. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you, Bud, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks for checking out our channel. If you like what you saw, make sure to like and subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any new videos. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter for the latest engineering news and information. And to see all of our upcoming events, please visit our website at saratech.com/events.